Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. How are you all doing? My name is Amanda Ellis, and a very warm welcome to my channel. A very warm, human, real, consciously made welcome to my channel, coming from a human being with a beating heart and a soul and a higher consciousness, connected into other higher realms and guides. And I say that with all seriousness to differentiate myself from a lot of the content right now that is being served up on social media. And if you think that this is just an appetizer of what is to come, I don't want to induce fear, but I am telling you that there is a whole huge wave coming of inauthentic material and energy, and this video is about that and how we navigate that. And in many ways, I'd like this to be a video that maybe is found in a year's time, 5 years' time, 10 years' time, 50 years' time, a bit like a time capsule type energy, to remind beings still living on this planet, if timelines haven't played out to the highest advantage of mankind and the collective, of what we once were. I'm just going to say what is on my heart in this video. It's actually been pretty heavy on my heart over the last few weeks. But it's only really been in the last few days that the penny has dropped, and I've really got a full 360-degree view on exactly what is going on and maybe why we are feeling as we are. I'm going to be talking in this video about the advances in particular of AI. But this isn't to do with just dissing AI, because there are advantages to it. And maybe in another video, or even in this one, I don't know, we'll see how it develops, I will expand on that. Because with any new invention, any new path, any new direction, there is always much to learn and discover, and there will be amazing things that come from it. But there is also an energy at play right now, which is threatening, which is thwarting to creativity and to the very essence of what it is to actually be a human being. I'm going to reference in this video not just AI, although Metatron is taking it a step further here, and rather than just calling it artificial intelligence, he's wanting me to talk about artificial consciousness. Because those of you that know a little bit about AI will know that some of the discussions that are being had right now, including with regards to the main experts of the day in this field, including the man who helped create it, are coming to the conclusion that we don't actually know quite how it's going to pan out, what is going to happen. But the big elephant in the room is, does AI have an innate consciousness? And many people are saying that it already does. But definitely Metatron is wanting me to talk not just about artificial intelligence, but artificial consciousness. Remembering that this is a spiritual channel, I'm a spiritual teacher, and so therefore the God consciousness, oneness consciousness, Christ consciousness, creation consciousness, whatever you want to call it, will always be where I steer my own particular boat and compass towards. So we're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be referencing something called the dead internet theory, which I very much think ties into this. And it was actually my youngest daughter that even got me thinking about this subject, the dead internet theory, because I'd never heard of it. And so I looked up what it means, and I will tell you what it means if you don't know. But then I realised that actually it made complete sense, and actually I am witnessing it in real time as a content creator, somebody that's been on the internet with YouTube since 2012. And I've absolutely rode the waves, the highs, the lows, the stagnant periods, the periods where you have a video that goes viral and lots of people find you, and also all of the different times in our world that has affected us joining together online. So in a nutshell, the dead internet theory, this is just from Wikipedia, it's one paragraph. And this is really what really got me thinking I have to talk about this, because the first statement that is made is that the dead internet theory is a conspiracy theory that asserts, due to a coordinated and intentional effort, the internet now consists mostly of bot activity and automatically generated content, manipulated by algorithmic curation to control the population and minimize organic human activity. Because where I also want to get to in this video is the split between AI and the AI transhuman energy and organic, authentic human consciousness, because there is a split that is here. But the dead internet theory, when I read that description of it, I thought, well, this isn't a conspiracy theory, this is already here. Because as I say, I am noticing it in real time. And we all know that bots have been around for many generations, of course. And usually in the past, you could sort of identify who they were and how they came in. And you still do. But I don't think it's just my channel, but I am seeing an absolute avalanche of bot activity, as well as, I don't want to use the word shadow banning because it always feels a bit of a victim-y type energy. It can also just be that your content isn't what people want to see. People are driven to maybe other subjects that are what I call gallows type energy, But anyway, I have noticed, for example, these are 4 comments that are awaiting approval at the moment on my channel. You're probably not actually going to be able to read them, I realise, but in essence, what they are is complete and utter gobbledygook in a language that I don't even recognise. When you translate them to English, they all say the same thing, like, I really like the video, great video, interesting video. It's like there's nobody at the other end of it. They also all come in a batch all together, usually at the same time as those other emails that we all see about, have you read this book on manifestation or whatever it is. But that is a new thing that has been happening on my channel over the last couple of weeks. So it's getting really, really difficult to sift out what is real or what is not. And the other thing that I'm sure you're all noticing, and I am as well, is these videos where there isn't a human voice. That's why I introduced myself as I did at the start of this video, that I am Amanda, I am actually a real person, I have a beating heart, I have a consciousness, I have a soul, I make mistakes. In fact, my flaws are some of the best bits about me. And what I mean by that is that going forward, this type of flawless production, these mechanical voices that never trip up or say anything, away from the script, that aren't real, are a danger, I feel, to us, because they're taking us away from what it is to be human, which is to absolutely slip up, make mistakes, say words in the wrong order, come on looking rough on a particular day, you've had a bad night's sleep, or God forbid you're aging and you don't look like you did 20 years ago. I don't look like I did when I started off in 2012 on the internet, and I have no inclination to want to try and make myself look like that. But a lot of this automated content, you have not just the voice, which isn't real. It might be taken from somebody that's real, and that's a whole other thing in its own right, because you can have the voice of somebody who is real, but they're actually not words that have actually come out of their mouth in that particular order. But equally, it's gone beyond just putting a filter on to make yourself look a little bit better, or like I've got right now, I've got lights in front of me to light this shot better, so that helps also. But I'm still me. It's not an AI version of me. Now, at this point, I know it's very easy for people to criticise and come in and saying, oh, you're just a stuck in the mud. You're just somebody that isn't wanting to embrace the changes that this new revolution can bring. And to that, I would say, make no mistake, I know that the revolution is here. I know that there is no way in hell we can stop what is coming. I know that the split between what I'm wanting to call AI transhumanism, and I know Greg Braden's done a lot of work on this, and the organic, authentic human is here. It is here. And it's almost as though I'm talking about it today because I am putting my stake in the ground and saying that I am in the camp of staying authentic and as organic as possible. But that doesn't mean that maybe I can't be helped out from time to time with the benefits of where AI can help us. An example of that would be I'm trying to write a book at the moment, and it's all handwritten notes because it's automatic writing, and I'm using some AI software to help me put that down onto a physical document. So, it's not rocket science, it's just speaking it out loud and then seeing the words appear on, a Word document or whatever it is. But essentially, the ingredients that went into that book, the actual words, even though AI is helping to transcribe it, they came from my soul, they came from my heart, they came from my connection with another spirit in the spiritual world. So, there are times when absolutely we can use AI to help us, whether it's in the medical field, whether it's in the legal field, etc. It's a huge subject, and we're going to come back to it many times on my channel. But for now, I just wanted to sort of come on and start the conversation with you, really, because particularly as a content creator, I think I just wanted to make you understand what is actually going on behind the scenes and how difficult it is for many of us to try to stay true to who we are in a world that is demanding that we change. And to that, and I'm not the only one, there are many of us, and you don't have to be a content creator on YouTube. You might be a writer, you might be a painter, you might be somebody whose job is threatened by AI going forward. Anybody, it's going to come into every single area of life. But to thine own self be true is what I'm hearing Metatron say. And also, he's reminding us of the power of our soul contracts. And part of our soul contract absolutely is to have been born and to be incarnate at a time of extraordinary change in our world. Now, there already has been extraordinary change in the world since I've been alive over nearly 6 decades. I haven't quite made my 6th decade yet, but I'm getting towards that age. Pre-colour television, pre-mobile phones, pre-internet. Young people coming in would be like, what on earth? What on earth was that like? Actually, it was great. But anyway, we've embraced it. I'm speaking to you here now over the internet. It's all good. But my generation have also retained that energy of what once was and hopefully taken the best of the past and the new with us to form the new era. So, in our lifetime now, all of us, whatever age you are watching me, we are going through this revolution, which is the AI revolution. And some people are quicker than others to understand the full ramifications of this. I think that many people still have got their head buried in the sand, that somehow if I don't give attention to it, it's not going to be part of my life. It is going to be part of our life. It's going to be part of our life with regards to how things are made, how things are produced, what we watch, what we listen to. But we still are always going to have a choice to either choose something raw, organic, real, authentic, or something more produced by another consciousness that may not be human. Now, is there a time and a place for both? I would imagine there probably is, absolutely. What Metatron's, the analogy he's giving to me is a very simple one, but the analogy is about food. So if you think about the organic human, the authentic human with the pure consciousness still running through them, no microchip in the brain, not having completely just, rolled over and let AI do its worst and taken over to such a degree that you don't even understand anymore how to communicate, maybe. I was watching, I think it was Diary of the CEO yesterday. I can't remember who Stephen was talking to, but the person was saying that one of the things that we stand to lose is very human skills. If we completely roll over. And what I mean by that, by human skills, is, for example, listening skills. And I think we can already start to see that in social media. It's as though we want the soundbite, we want just give it to me in one sentence. Well, particularly spirituality and wisdom sometimes it can come in a sentence. In fact, it can come in one word, which is love. But ultimately, we need a little bit more than that to try to get our heads around is some of the very esoteric concepts that are out there and the nuance that is out there. But yeah, we stand to lose maybe some of these very human qualities, listening, being able to be present, being able to communicate, just one-on-one at a human level. If you think about going forward into the future, just in the interaction with robots rather than an actual human being, what that does to the rewiring of the brain and the neural pathways, what becomes our norm basically, what do we allow in? So back to the analogy that Metatron's giving about food, it's very much about, the effort that goes into preparing a proper meal, buying good ingredients or the best ingredients that you can, making a meal with love, having to wait for it to cook in the oven, waiting for it to be able to cool down so you can actually savour it and taste it. Then allowing, the time to digest, etc. It's a whole process. It's not instant. And indeed, before you even go out to maybe buy the ingredients to make the meal, to cook the meal, to eat the meal, there is the thought, there's the thinking, which is, what do I fancy today? What would I like to try? What would I like to experiment with? Shall I try to learn Chinese food or Thai cooking or Indian cooking, etc.? So we have that. That's one part, that's one side of this dualistic realm. And the other side is it's like the fast food energy, which is just tap in a number. I don't care where it comes from. I haven't looked into what the ingredients are. I don't know who's cooked it. I don't know what the company does with the money that I give to get the meal. Just give it to me quick. I'm going to eat it quickly. I'm then going to maybe throw the packet out of the window. Hopefully you wouldn't do that. But you get my point. So that analogy is very true in terms of the speed Metatron is saying with regards to these two different ends of the same spectrum. On one hand, AI, which is by nature is fast. It's fast. It's like, even what I do now, the thumbnails that go into making YouTube has always been part of the creative process. It takes a lot longer actually than people think it does just to, create that thumbnail. What colour do I want? Have I got a recent photograph of myself? What am I going to call this video? What was it actually I was talking about in the video? What was the main thing that would be a hook for people to listen and want to watch? All of that was a whole creative process. Whereas now what you can do is you can just type in, well, you don't have to type anything in, you just put your video in and it will come up with a thumbnail for you. It's easy. It's actually, sometimes going forward, I will probably use it if I'm in a rush, but not always, because actually what it does if you do that all the time is it starts to lower that creative impulse that you've got. It's like a muscle, Metatron's saying, that needs to still be flexed in terms of, okay, I'm talking about this subject. What colour would go with that? What type of symbols would go with that? What language would go with that? What sort of flavour and what sort of essence and what sort of energy do I want in that simple thumbnail versus just press a button and there it is? And can you just feel how that essence of speed versus considered thought over time, if all you're doing is just pressing the button, give it to me quick, give it to me quick, I don't have to think about it, versus something which is more considered and also is about presence. It's about actually, I am putting part of myself into this. This is my brand. This is my essence. This is my signature. This is who I am as a person. And this is just what the computer thinks is me as a person. And of course, that's just one tiny, tiny speck of life. Creating a thumbnail doesn't come into most people's lives, but AI and its ability to just press the button and do whatever you're wanting it to do is going to come into most aspects of our life. And sometimes it's going to be great to press that button, give it to me quick because I need it quick, but we're really going to have to be able to train ourselves. And actually, Metatron is using the word discipline ourselves if we want to remain organic, as authentic and as real as possible, to not always just go for the quick fix, not always to go for the quick meal, to understand that there is actually pleasure, but also lessons sometimes in the mistakes that you make by going the longer route. It's like traveling, isn't it? There's a very good program on the TV at the moment called, I can't remember what it's called, something like Around the World in whatever days. And it's, it's couples basically who are racing against each other to get to from one end of the world to another. And actually what they've been doing is they've been traveling through China and India, which has been a complete eye-opener for me just watching it, because my gosh, the beauty in both countries, and particularly China, I mean India as well, but China just because it's more concealed and we don't often see what there is. My mind was blown by just some of the beauty that was coming across. But why I'm talking about this is that some of the couples, the ones that are obviously wanting to win, are just going from A to B in the quickest route possible, and not really seeing anything of the culture or experiencing it. But the wise ones are actually taking that route sometimes the quickest, but then also realizing that actually, is winning the game actually about just getting to that final line, or is winning the game playing it to the best of our ability, but also having the most amazing experiences along the way, and not going the direct route, going a route that actually takes you out of the way, but you're going to experience, for example, seeing the most beautiful elephants. That was one thing. They went to an elephant sanctuary, and another couple saying, we're never going to probably come back to India again. I want to savor some of it. I want to sense it. So this thing about fast versus slow, is something just to be considering. What else do I want to say? I was interviewed by Emilio Ortez a couple of months ago now, and I'm going to be going back on his show at some point. But it was interesting. Those of you that watch him regularly, he always starts with the same question and he always ends with the The last few questions are always the same. But for whatever reason, he didn't ask me the questions at the end that he normally asks everybody, just because I went into a bit of a meditation and, we just ended on that beautiful note, and it didn't feel appropriate to then ask the question. But the question is a time capsule question, and I hope he doesn't mind me answering it here, because if he ever does actually ask it to me in person, it might be a different response. But I've been thinking about it, because the question is, 50 years from now, if you were to put something into a time capsule, what would it be? And I've been thinking that actually, particularly with regards to this subject we're talking about today, I think what I would be putting into it is reminders of the authentic, real human. And why does this matter to me so much? I think it matters to anybody who's lived through past civilizations that have fallen. And in particular, I'm talking about the Atlantean age, the Egyptian age, any of the great civilizations, really, where we had it really quite good, the golden age, and then technology came in and started to corrupt it and also lessen the vibration of the people. Now, I'm a glass half full girl, so I will always believe and strive for the fact that we don't have to go back and repeat the mistakes of the past. And if enough of us can stay as real and organic as possible, we're going to be all right. But if everybody just rolls over and lets AI do its worst, which is take every single job that's going, etc. As I say, there are benefits, I know that, but there are also very big consequences for society if there has to be a middle way approach, really, which is what we want. But to even have a middle way approach, you have to remember who you once were. You have to remember what you're capable of. You have to still be flexing the muscle of creativity, independence, whatever it is. So where was I with that? Sorry, I've lost my place. The time capsule question. Yeah, I think what I would put into it is things that remind us of the organic human. And that would include maybe a photograph of an old man, an old woman who has naturally aged, somebody with deep crevices on their face. There's a beauty in that as well. Maybe, I don't know, a bunch of fresh herbs that became dried over time to give a nod to holistic medicines and the power of herbs to heal versus, I don't know, some prescription that AI dreams up for you, which probably will be linked into maybe Big Pharma if we're not careful. That type of thing, really. So have a think about time capsules and what you would put into them at this critical juncture of our world, because we really are, I don't think we're even at the crossroads anymore where we're trying to make a decision which way are we going to go. The decision has already been made at a collective level that we are advancing forward now on this AI path. The question is, what do we do as light workers to retain that God consciousness for future generations? There's definitely videos out there. I haven't watched them in great detail, but one caught my eye the other day, which was talking about almost like an alternate, well, it's what Metatron's saying. He's talking about artificial consciousness, which in a way is like, he's showing me now like the golden calf type God. It's like a false God. But it's a God which man maybe will create. Now, there's a part of me just stepping away from Metatron's energy in a moment, which is thinking, yeah, but could that also be a good thing? So rather than the golden calf energy, could it be a God that we create that actually honours all religions, all belief systems, that doesn't have them separated into, you are a Catholic, you are a Jew, you are a Muslim, you are this, you are that ultimately I believe we all worship the same God. Could AI help us to get to that point where we start to realise that? That would be a good thing, I think. But at the moment, as I say, all the experts and anybody out there is saying we don't actually know which way this is going right now. And anybody that tells you they definitely know is a false prophet, because nobody actually knows. We just need to be having the discussions now in terms of where we are going to place ourselves and how we are going to operate and how we are going to behave, and more than anything else, what our energy signature wishes to be going into this brave new world. I'll reference a couple of the guys that I follow now. I don't actually follow many people at all, but these are people I've spoken of before. So I follow David Palmer, the Leo King. I also follow Phil Good. And it's interesting also because two representations of the divine masculine. And I'm sure they share lots of similarities. I'm not saying they're at odds with each other at all, but it's just that they talked about different aspects this past week. So we've just had the Saturn in Aries. Well, no, we haven't just had the Saturn in Aries thing. Saturn in Aries is here. I've done a video on that. If you missed it, it's probably because the algorithm isn't even bringing me to your page. Don't wait for the algorithm to bring somebody that you like to your page. I don't rely on YouTube to tell me when Phil's got a new video out or David's got a new video out. I go to their pages direct to see, because don't ever rely on, an algorithm that wants to do what it wants to do. Remember the dead internet theory. It's there to control a narrative, to control an energy stream, maybe to tell you that someone's got a new video. If you like them, you go to their page and find it. You have to put the work in. It's a bit like that thing about the ready meal. Oh, there are 3 new videos today on YouTube from all of the, 200 people I follow. Really? No, that's just because that's what the algorithm is showing you. That's the quick button. The slower button is you going and looking through your subscriptions and thinking, oh, I haven't heard from that person for a while. I wonder why not? What are they up to now? And going and looking at their material. But anyway, David and Phil. So Leo King. Always make time to have a cup of tea, my friends, although that's actually water. Right. Saturn in Aries. He did a video on Saturn in Aries, as I'm sure most astrologers have done. But one of the things I took out of it was David was saying, this is fast energy, and the world is fast. And the thing is, it's only going to get faster. And if you watched his video, you'll understand why he's saying that. And I was nodding in agreement and thinking, yeah, this is exactly what I'm feeling. And there's a big part of me which is just like, stop the ride. I want to get off. I don't want to go at this pace. But equally, we have to be in the world, but not of the world. Okay, so the world can be speeding up, but somehow we have to maintain our frequency and our vibration. And we just have to do that somehow. And it's going to be difficult, but I will come back to this to try and help us with it over the years. So that's one thing. He was just talking about it's getting louder as well. It's getting louder, it's getting faster. And then Phil, in a different way, was sort of saying the same thing, because he did a little video on Instagram and he was talking about, my God, it's loud out there. And equally how if you are just holding a space for allowing others to be present, to listen, to be in your heart. I can't remember how he actually put it, but it's almost like you're not heard. And I really resonated with that also because, that's exactly how I've been experiencing social media recently. And I've been absolutely consciously wanting to turn away from a lot of the noise that's out there. Can you read on this? Can you read on that? And they're always they're the loudest subjects of the day. The things that the media are putting front in our face that are being designed to trigger us, that are being designed to divide us, that are being designed to lower us, basically. And there's just a huge part of me is just like, no, I'm not playing the game anymore. I'm not doing that. And even if I know that by not doing that, I'm not going to get the amount of views that I might get if I did one of those videos, but I have to remain true to myself. So there's many people out there with very real, authentic voices. I know I am one of them. David's definitely one of them. Phil's definitely one of them. There's lots of us. But it's getting harder and harder. So I hope that what I'm saying is helping. I'm going to end this video because I want to keep this video quite short for all sorts of reasons. But I want to just show you a couple of cards that I drew off camera. There's a deck that I don't use that often. I know I'm always saying that, but probably because I've got too many decks. But it's the Dream Keepers Tarot by Liz Houston. And I think this is a very good deck actually for this type of subject. It just feels as though it's linked into this sort of weird world that we're in at the moment. Is it real? Is it fake? Because this is the other thing. We're entering this world of CGI, and it's like, is what you're watching even real? Is it? David Palmer's done work on this, demonstrating and showing, what AI can do and how real the people look. You're watching what looks like people. They're not people. They are AI avatars, effectively. I don't even know if that's the right term, but they look real, except if you look at their eyes, they haven't actually got the soul consciousness, but they're entertaining, they can do the job. So, this deck is a good one for this sort of weird world. And it's very concerning to me because it's almost as though anything could be proven now. Falsely proven. Look, there is a video here that shows this person doing this deed. How do you know it's actually real? And the people that are telling you it's fake or it's real, how do you know that who's behind them and their consciousness? We're getting into a whole mess here. But let's try and stay as high vibrational as we can. And that means staying as real as we can. And that means having conversations such as these. So the deck, as I say, pulled some cards off camera, and they're really quite interesting because the first card that came out was the High Priestess. And if you can see this card, you'll notice that she's standing on a nest, but she's standing almost as though she's got this bird's eye view. And those of you that watch my work a lot with Metatron, how many times have I told you that Metatron asks us to take a bird's eye view of things, yeah? And why that is because when we take a bird's eye view, we can see everything that's going on, yeah? We can see all the pieces of the jigsaw. So this High Priestess is just standing. She looks a bit like Nanny McPhee, actually. Can you see that? A bit like Nanny McPhee, standing on a nest, perched, just looking. But I also think there's an energy there with regards to spirituality, which is that you shall not tamper with me too much. The realm of magic, the realm of good magic, is protected. There's something about protection here with her, because it's almost like she's where you can't reach her. I also feel as though, I don't know what this is, but there's almost like there's some higher truths and esoteric wisdom and books, texts, whatever. They're going to be somehow guarded and protected. I don't know. Or maybe we can ask for that. I mean, you've noticed it, the likes of Dolores Cannon, a lot of her videos now, they're not her. It's just is a voice telling you about her teachings. I mean, in some ways that's good, yes. But, if I was Dolores, would I be completely happy with the way that her work is being interpreted by by AI and putting it in a certain way, or presenting it at a certain time, which might have connotations with regards to why she's saying that? So this High Priestess that's a bit protected is almost sort of saying maybe our work is protected to a degree, but we have to ask for that protection, even through the veils. And then the other cards that came out are really interesting because there's a lot of feminine energy. We've got the High Priestess, which by nature is feminine. We've got the Queen of Pentacles and the Queen of Cups. So 3 feminine energies. And again, this feels very divine feminine, because where the hell does the divine feminine energy fit into this AI world? Well, she will somehow, but again, it's like remembering the essence of what it is to be female. And by that I'm talking about the wisdom, the passages that we go through as women, from puberty to menopause to beyond. The body, the sacredness of life. There's something here about these 3 women, or 3 representations of femininity being important for this age that we're in. Maybe they are stewards, maybe they are guardians that help us, that we are not helpless against the machine. That this artificial consciousness that Metatron is talking about is somehow being monitored or guarded over by the divine feminine, because it's meant to be the divine feminine's age as well. So how does she fit into this whole new, brave new world? But somehow she will. But we've also got the Ten of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords. So I also feel there's something here to do with, you see, Ten of Pentacles is legacy. It's what we have, what we have made, what we have built. So coming together with all of this feminine energy, there's something about feminine input going to be very important with regards to the way how this goes down, basically. I know I'm right in saying that a lot of the programming, I don't even know if that's the right word, the creation of it, is it James Hinton, somebody like that, was male. It's a very male energy, but it doesn't have to remain that way. It's like the feminine energy needs to come back in to balance it, to curate it. What does curate mean? I'm hearing the word curate, C-U-R-A-T-E. Curate means, to select and gather people for their specific skills. So maybe it's just also that there is feminine spirit who is trying to help put the right people in place to steer this new superhighway, this new revolution that's here whether we like it or not. It's a bit like the energy of mothering. A mothering will always try to look after her children. If you're a good mother anyway, you bring children into the world for the right reason. So there's something here about this new intelligence, consciousness that is now in town. Women needing to help raise it is the word that I'm getting. But we have got the Nine of Swords. This is just also referencing people's genuine concerns and worries, because you might be sitting there thinking, oh no, it's a great thing, don't know what you're going on about, Amanda. Wait till your job is threatened, wait till the fact your job is taken away from you. And I'm not trying to fearmonger there, hopefully that doesn't happen, but there's definitely a potentiality of that happening in many professions going forward over the next decades. You might be okay because you might be near retirement age, but what about the younger generations? How do they find their feet? And it struck me today that in this world that is getting louder and louder, and in some ways feeling less removed from Mother Earth and nature and what is organic and true, and that also includes our bodies, you know, which are part of nature and Mother Earth. We have the birth of all these beautiful children who are labelled autistic, who often don't like the loudness. They don't like the this huge stimuli. So I'm being distracted because my battery is saying I've got no minutes left, and that's interesting in its own way, isn't it? Because it's almost like it's flashing zero. I feel as though there's a message coming. Interesting, it wasn't the battery, it was the memory card being full. I'll talk about that in a moment. But just back to these children, autistic children, who don't like the loudness and the bright lights, and, you know, if anything, need a calmer atmosphere, a more structured atmosphere. I mean, in one way, maybe we might say that AI is bringing some structure in, which can be beneficial. But I also believe that souls that are coming in now, they're not stupid. They know what they have signed up for, and they know the world that they were going to be arriving into. And they are part of helping to create the best of what this new age can be as well, and to help create artificial intelligence and consciousness to work for us rather than against us. So I definitely feel as though these children have a part to play also in keeping it in tune with soul, essence and signature and frequency. Just to mention that memory card becoming full, because there is this whole thing about artificial intelligence requiring a lot of energy to fuel it, and I think that could be one of the I'm being shown a dead end by Metatron here. circuit breaker is what he's saying. It's like a natural circuit breaker that maybe doesn't take it as far as it potentially could go, because at the end of the day, if energy is being taken to create, I don't know, AI avatars or whatever it is that's being happening with it, at the expense of keeping lights on in South Africa, where lights aren't even on most of the time, or I know you have a lot of power cuts, that type of thing, then people are going to be up in arms about that, aren't they? So I don't know, just the way it's at the moment, as I say, let's just keep open-minded. Let's try and keep as positive as we can. But the most important message I want to get out of today's video is to not just roll over, to understand that you have a part to play in making it what you want to be, but not becoming the lazy fat slob basically that just sits on the sofa eating French fries. That's the analogy I'm being given, because that is where we're just wanting technology to do it all for us at the expense of what it is that we came in to be, which is a human being who came into Earth's playground to experience everything. Yes, that includes technology as well. As I say, this video isn't an attack on technology and the way we're going. It's just a reminder to try to stay as raw and authentic as you can also, and to not let your creative impulse die. And somehow to keep riding the waves, even through algorithms of change that are saying, well, you're not particularly relevant anymore, or we don't really want to hear what you've got to say, or we don't want what you have to sell. This is the new shiny thing in town, and all hail that, Remember why you came, remember your soul contract, remember what is true to you, because it's really interesting. In this deck, I didn't realise this. I was thinking that said the Hanged Man, which is what it normally does say in a traditional tarot deck. Can you see here? It says the Hanged Woman. The Hanged Woman. There's definitely something here about, and the Hanged Man or the Hanged Woman is always about, we need to have another look at this. So is it too late for us to have another look at it and say, actually, do we want it to change life to the degree that it potentially could? Because again, going back to Stephen and the Diary of the CEO, on a video I was watching of his the other day, he was talking about some friend of a friend he knows who's working for one of the big companies who are behind AI, who is saying one thing in public with regards to, this is going to be great, and it does this and it does that, but behind the scenes is really worried. So in many ways, it's an expression of, do we feel we've got power, or are we just completely kowtowed to what has to happen to us? I will always remind us that we are not victims, that we can make the best of anything, including new technologies. But to do that means we have to be awake and aware of the pitfalls, but also the blessings that can come as well. But we have to be part of it. Don't lose your individuality and your essence. And somewhere along the lines, this feminine wisdom and this feminine energy feels as though it's coming in to bring a balance and a correction. And how that's going to play out, I'm not entirely sure. I think it might be interesting just to end by reading what it says about the Hanged Woman, because that's quite an unusual. I've never seen the Hanged Woman before in a deck. So what does it say? It says, surrendering to the unknown, sacrifices initiating revelation and the breaking of old patterns. A woman dangles from a tree branch, her inverted position held in place by a string of delicate webs woven around her toes. Her body, wrapped in a thin white veil, calls to mind the white flag of surrender and suggests her acquiescence to the situation. Her legs form the shape of an inverted 4, which is a practical number that represents the grounded nature of things. Symbolically, the position of her legs brings a sense of centeredness to the scene. In sacrificing the familiar tokens of safety, she also faces a great test of autonomy in that she must be completely self-referencing. There is no authority figure telling her what she must do. She is the authority figure. As she hangs upside down, she must be confident in her position and willing to be misunderstood by others in pursuit of being true to herself. All of us must endure these sort of tests in life on the path to individualization and spiritual awakening as we inch towards enlightenment. So the card appears when we're at times of needing a new perspective, where there are old patterns that must be broken. She is encouraging us to look at things from a different perspective. She supports the shedding of unnecessary protections and emboldens the sacrifice of unproductive beliefs. You see, I think that part of the unproductive belief is just thinking that technology has the answer to everything. And I'm being shown by Metatron the analogy of Star Trek and Spock and Kirk. And, Spock wasn't an AI-generated avatar, but he did have a different type of consciousness. He had less heart consciousness. All Spock lovers don't come at me. I love Spock. But, Kirk had more embodied the humanness. But you put them together and they were able to create extraordinary things and go on voyages beyond what you could possibly imagine, to go where no man has gone before. So I think that card, the Hanged Woman, is saying that we need both. And I would agree with that as well. There's no stopping this revolution. It's here. But equally, we have to take the best of the past with us too. And I think that's where I'm going to leave it today. And I will come back to this subject, absolutely. So I hope you're all well. Take great care of yourself. Be interested to hear what you think in the comments below. And I will be back very soon. Thanks very much for listening. Bye-bye for now. Bye.